What is up, you classy ladies and classy sirs? Silver Tongue Diablo talking to you live. So, as much as I want to talk about liberty and freedom, I want to start to get on top of the YouTube headquarters shooting. What exactly it meant and what exactly I found out about the channel. So, the number one thing that you gotta realize is that YouTube is a huge company that has been, roughly speaking, doing whatever they want to their YouTubers. People like me, people like everyone else, and there's a lady out there, Persian, who was trying to get popular, obviously. And just like any other YouTuber out there, she worked hard, and she probably didn't have the good realization that you don't get popular overnight. In fact, you probably don't get popular at all. If anything, you got to do this because you love it. It's because you want to do it, not because you will get a following or people will actually watch you in any way. So you just gotta sit there and just plug away every single day instead of just always relying on the comments, relying on the increase in subscribership. You just do it. You plug away every day. And if by chance you become popular, great. If by chance you don't, it's no big deal. You just got to keep plugging away. So she had 4 channels. There was a workout channel, there was several other channels, and most of the people who actually wanted to look at her were laughing at her because she was a little off in the head. And she had an Instagram and she had a Facebook account, and she kept her uploads relatively consistently, but most of everything that she said was very much contradictory, and for the most part she watched people who were getting their YouTube demonetized and trying to figure out how to be able to make a dent. This actually is more of an eye-opener for everybody out there and for me especially, because you just plug away at the same thing over and over again until you finally feel good about it on a daily basis. Her, on the other hand, she kept changing her system, trying to get more subscribers, even though she wasn't doing the same thing over and over again. This made it so that she was getting pretty pissed off. And being a Persian descent, she had everybody who watched her channel commented and said she was a little bit off, especially for a Persian. And so what did she do when YouTube got demonetized? Well, who knows what was going on in her head, but definitely her YouTube videos said that she was getting demonetized for stupid reasons, like her workout videos were not age appropriate, even though they were clearly a little bit sexual. And so she really got upset over that type of stuff. Then she left randomly. Her brother, I believe it was, called up the police down there while she was while her car was parked close to YouTube headquarters. I can't remember. It's like Mountain something place. And she was eventually walking towards the place. It took about 12 hours from the time that she had her car there to YouTube headquarters. She went into the front offices and, according to some accounts, demanded to speak to a couple of people, went a little crazy, and then shot up 3 people. Then after that, she pulled the gun to her head and shot herself. This is a very, very tragic story, but it actually has more of a purpose behind it than anything else. And it shows how political people created this story. This story was absolutely 100% political in every way. Before her body was even cold, a guy sat there and said, I will bet you anything that it's a white male that is a right-leaner and is totally for guns. I will, if it isn't, I will eat my hat. How ironic. I just have to ask him, how does it taste? Because I know mine tastes good, pretty good, every once in a while, whenever I'm wrong. Dude, the guy was a dipshit, a douchebag. Are you kidding me? This is the real issue here, is that we over-politicize shootings. And all of a sudden, since it was one of the things that's closest to home, YouTube, we actually sit there and say, oh, it has to be politicized 100%. We'll blame anybody who we find as the terrorist group on the other side. She was a Persian descent, animal activist, YouTuber, and she was more left-leaning than anyone else. She has watched different people in the past. She watched there are a bunch of famous YouTubers, and it goes to show that you shouldn't politicize a fucking shooting before the bodies are even cold. This is dumb shit that people do. They go on Twitter and then they're like, oh my god, a shooting? Yeah, totally evil, right-leaning people. Or, man, those leftist, terrible people, they are just awful. Before the even facts are out, they're already jamming their foot up their ass in a hard way. And they're just like, oh, this hurts. So, this woman, disturbed, definitely, obviously very wired, wanted to be popular and didn't maintain popularity. I went to her website. And as I was looking at her website, I found that there was a couple of interesting things that were happening there. She put on pictures of herself all the time and put on different YouTubers of all sorts. And she was very much into pop culture, but hated pop culture, if you know what I mean. So she stated that pop culture and radicalism and authoritarianism and that dictatorships are everywhere, and that we need to point them out. So she was already radicalized in a way to think that YouTube was more of a dictatorship than it was an actual platform. And it's a platform that's a privilege, not really anything else. Now, I'm not going to make it so that YouTube is not off the hook, if you know what I mean. YouTube will never be off the hook for this. They have done some terrible, terrible, terrible things. Awful things, in fact. And they have no right to actually claim victimhood for any of this yet. Not yet. Because they have done some terrible things to creators. They have taken away their paychecks. It's one of the big no-nos of the world. When you sit there and people are working hard, then all of a sudden you take away their paycheck. A person was making $50 to $100 to $200 to $300 a month. All of a sudden they make 10 cents. And you go, what the fuck? This doesn't make them innocent. It makes them kind of guilty. Because you're actually saying to them, oh, your hard work, fuck your hard work. All right? Your hard work doesn't mean shit to me. I want to be able to take that money that is put by the advertisers and put it towards the YouTube company. Where does the money go? Where does it honestly go? Their advertisers are still there, but yet the person only made 10 cents? Really? Where does that money go from the advertisers? It's almost free advertising, even though they were demonetized, quote unquote, because of hate speech or different types of things. So they're not out of the woods, not even close. Now, like I said, it's still a platform and an awesome platform, and it helps you get your name out there, become more professional, and hey, you might be able to gain some experience with film or different things like that. And if you don't make it into the film business with your career, fine. You do other things, but it gives you enough experience to be able to move on to separate career choices along your career. So YouTube is a good platform, not the best, but a pretty decent platform. Hang on. So it's a pretty decent platform. Not the best platform, but a pretty decent platform. And if we really, really, really wanted it to be better, then, we need to consistently let our voices be heard towards YouTube. Because YouTube will always, always, always try and push the envelope and take away your paycheck. Now, was it right what this woman did? Absolutely not. She went to violence before she went to anything. Thank God nobody actually was killed. Now they're hurt. They're going to be, who knows how long they'll be in critical condition and if they will survive and what type of mental and physical, what they're going to go through. What exactly will they actually go through? And one second. Very true. Very true. Thanks, Ashley. So I want to be able to read it out loud. I don't understand why so many people watch the news and say things like, when are they watch the news and say things like that when they are clearly uneducated. You would think that they are into educating themselves if they watch the news. Very true. People who are watching news and trying to educate themselves as of lately, like literally within the last couple of years, have been in kind of a funk, if you know what I mean, because there's a lot of people who are watching things, but they can't quite get past the whole, how'd you say it, indoctrination. They can't get past the whole indoctrination. The fact is that this actually really goes into what I was going to say next, changing hearts and minds. And it's very hard to be able to change hearts and minds. But changing hearts and minds is a really, really difficult task at hand. The reason is because people have it inside their head what the truth is. And it's very hard to be able to change a person's mind and heart at the same time. There's a lot of people who can't change their minds and their hearts because in the scriptures, it's humility, having humility. Well, it's other things such as just basic listening skills, acknowledging truth, acknowledging other people's facts. There's all sorts of different things. But the big thing is that if you have enough pride inside of your heart, you will never change your mind in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, this woman was into activism, but I don't think she ever tried to change her heart or her mind. She was just trying to be indoctrinated by several different things. And of course, 1 second. I need to make my layout a little bit better. Okay. Especially, absolutely. Changing your heart and mind and opening it up to the truth is a huge thing. A lot of people don't have the capacity to be able to do such things. A lot of people can't. It's impossible for them because they hate the other side so much. There's an extreme amount of hatred that they especially can't get past one person or the other. When there's extreme amounts of hatred, there's no way to be able to change. There's none whatsoever. I was in my relationship a long time ago. I have an ex-wife, and the biggest problem is that the communication is that you have to be willing to take away your pride and be able to listen to the other person in any circumstance, regardless, and find out what the real issue and the real problem is. The real issues are sometimes not even known to the person at hand. And if you just back away just a tiny bit, just enough, you might be able to be surprised that you are seeing something extremely obvious. And it happens in my new relationship all the time. Like, I will sometimes not realize that I'm saying something that I really shouldn't say, and I'm doing things that I really shouldn't do. But because she listens and I listen so absolutely well, it makes it easier to be able to change our hearts and our minds towards each other. We actually have a greater connection. The old relationship, I was listening while she was pointing fingers at me of what I was doing wrong. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. It was an awful thing. But anyways, I wanted to just go back to changing hearts and minds just for a little bit and how to change them. Well, the basic thing is they've got to learn humility. That's the number one thing. And humility is hard to learn. Humility is one of the hardest things to learn in this life. There's no way to be able to learn good humility without people actually giving up something of themselves. If they give up one thing or another, well, the easiest way to be able to tie it in, if we need to tie it in, is basically people need to actually stop teaching and start listening. And this is the hardest thing to do because there's so many people who just feel that they're right and will just keep preaching before they even listen. And this is the whole reason why I wanted to be able to create this. I wanted to be able to create this type of thing because I wanted people to be able to comment to me. So that way I can be consistently learning while I'm teaching at the same time. I know I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong so many different times, but I welcome it. I want it. I want to know when I'm wrong. And in order for us to globally change, we have to admit that we're wrong. We have to admit that there has to be the open option that we are wrong and that we need to be able to come to some sort of conclusion of what the closest thing to truth is. And if we can come to the closest thing that we consider truth, then we might be able to come to a decent agreement. And if there's a decent agreement, then we're good. If there's so much hatred in your heart, there's no way to change. There's no way to have that communication. In fact, you will do everything in your power to destroy the other side before you even have a chance. That's the goal of the other side. The lack of listening will create the most terrible, terrible scenario of all time. They will never move. Not once. Not once will they ever move. They want to be able to destroy the other side, regardless of circumstance. And that's the point that they want to come across. They want to destroy the other side. They're saying, nope, can't concede, can't give them any ground, can't leave any middle ground. We got to tear through. If you're right of Stalin, you're wrong. And that's why people are always trying to say, hey, come on, let's get together, let's talk, let's mesh, let's be inside of the same room and actually discuss these things. If we can't discuss these things, then it's absolutely terrible what outcome will come next, which is violence, period. It's always about violence, always about not conceding. It's always about, oh, this person's wrong. I mean, the Trump administration is a prime example of how people can't come together. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is the one responsible for it. What I'm saying is that Trump gets in and all of a sudden people hate him. Absolutely hate him. And they want him gone. They'll want him gone regardless of circumstance. They will do anything possible. And they have done almost everything possible to be able to get rid of him. And they're doing everything they can to say, no, 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 no. Let's not give him any room. Let's not give him any ounce of movement. If he becomes the hero, we lose. We lose big time. Gosh. Coming together. I have my girl over to the right. She's so awesome. I love her so much. I know I'm a cheesy person, but I love her so much. So, changing hearts and minds is about experience. And hopefully the people will be able to gain experience. But what happens when they gain corruption? Then they have an excuse to be able to never listen at all. The corruption will continue over and over again until all of a sudden we don't have an actual institution. This was said a long time ago about guns. It was actually a quote by Adolf Hitler. You repeat a lie long enough, eventually people will believe it. And that's the whole point, is that if you repeat a lie long enough, people will believe it. It doesn't matter how many facts you put in front of it. They will never look at you and be able to take those facts into consideration. Their hearts and minds have stopped in that process. Be open to it. Stop and have a discord. Stop and have a good talk about things. Stop and be able to listen. And the only way to be able to change hearts and minds is one person at a time. If you really want to know how to change hearts and minds, it's one person at a time. That is how to change hearts and minds. You can only change a person if you can only change one at a time. All right? It can't be by the millions. It can't be by the billions. It can't be by the trillions. It's got to be one person at a time. One simple conversation with a person. All right? Family member, friend, anything like that. Don't try and prove them wrong. Try and show them exactly what the facts are, what the emotional facts are, what the emotional truth is, what the logical truth is. By showing them these types of things, all of a sudden you're creating conversation. Do you need to actually have a discord where you need to prove them wrong? Fuck no. Fuck no. You want to be able to have a discord where people actually want to listen to you and actually want to hear what you have to say. being on the other side doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. It's all about coming together into the middle, finding common ground, seeing what's happening. The fact is that everybody who sits there and say guns kill or gun violence are huge problems, the biggest thing that they're trying to say is that the common ground and the commonality is they want to stop violence. They want to stop killings. They want to stop people from actually destroying each other. And so, in order for you to actually stop people destroying each other, then it's just one conversation at a time. One person at a time. I was a missionary a long time ago, and I went knocking on doors. And as much as I sat there and wanted to bring in thousands into the fold, I barely brought in 2. I was not effective in any way, shape, or form. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue exactly how to be able to go about. And so I decided to ponder inside my head exactly what to do in certain situations. You know, like, I get confronted with people. I tried figuring out people's hearts and seeing how to be able to change them, how to be able to mold them into different ways. The fact is that no person can change another. It's impossible. Years of experience, many people conversation, trying to go about it in a nice way, trying to go about it in a mean way, trying to go about it in all sorts of different ways. It doesn't matter. It will never happen. You will never change anybody's mind by sitting there forcing them down your road and thinking that the path is okay. It's about finding common ground. And the number one thing about the gun argument is that you can easily find common ground. It's simple. My dad has a difficult time to be able to convert this family towards the gun argument. And I just asked him a simple question. If I took you to the gun range, if I paid for an actual gun course, would you go? And he said, no. And I said, you're not hearing me. You're not really hearing me. All right? Do you acknowledge that there is a gun argument? Yes. So do you acknowledge that there are evil people out there? Yes. Am I an evil person for having a gun because you've known me for years? And he says, well, I don't think so. And I said, okay. So that means that there is an exception to your rule. So, will you be willing to actually go? And he said, I'll think about it. That is a victory on its own. I will think about it. I have not changed his mind, not even in the tiniest bit. All I did was open the opportunity for his mind to be changed. That's it. That's it. All right? Eventually, if he actually went to the gun courses, who knows what will happen? I don't predict futures, but who knows? Your goal is not to try and force people to have their minds changed. That's a dictatorship. That is a monarchy. That is exactly what the extreme left does. They will try as hard as they can to destroy, not to mend. Because they obviously don't want to mend anything that we do. They obviously don't care about certain people. They obviously care about themselves, and that's it. Oh, man. Now, I wanted to talk about equal outcome and how there's no such thing as equal outcome. But if you guys want to talk about something else, just let me know, and we can go from there. So, do you think that there is such thing as equal equal outcome, that can be actually desired, that can actually be accomplished? I'd like to know. I'd like to know how you think equal outcome can come about, because I actually don't believe that equal outcome can come about. I really don't believe it. In fact, I'll fight against it consistently. Equal outcome is a problem. Now, there's a story, and this has everything to do with my religion, but there's a story that in the pre-earth life, there was Satan and Christ and God. All right? God and Christ. So pretty much we're all children of God. And since we're all children, he was named Lucifer at the time, son of the morning, and it says inside the Bible that he fell. Okay, so that means that he was at least somewhat good at some time or another inside the Bible. And so him and Christ had a plan. The plan for Satan was to have an equal outcome. Everybody gets to go to heaven. Everybody. Doesn't matter who it is. They all get to go to heaven. We all are just sitting pretty as gods, and we get all the benefits of heaven. That was the equal outcome that he was trying to come about. And he said, no, that shouldn't happen. We all said, no, that shouldn't happen. And Christ came about and said, no, I will redeem their sins, and then the glory be thine. Which means that he pretty much gave us equal opportunity. Not equal outcome, equal opportunity. Which means we come down here and we have a free shot to be able to choose for ourselves and be able to dictate who we are as people to be able to make it to the next life and into heaven. Satan wanted an equal outcome, and he was willing to do it by any means necessary. What did he do? Try to take everybody away from God because they did not want. God wanted just equal opportunity. Satan wanted equal outcome. That's what he wanted. That's exactly what his goal was. And since you couldn't actually get it both ways, he had to actually convince a third of the hosts of heaven. That's why it says inside the Revelations about the third of the hosts plundering down. I have to refresh my memory on that, but it pretty much says a third of the hosts of heaven in some way, shape, or form, or a third, or like a third of the earth, a third of etc. And pretty much is a representation of the third of the hosts of heaven who fell before the earth became. So we lived before we came here, and then we came here, and now we all have equal opportunity to be able to make it into heaven. That was our free choice. Satan wanted to take away that choice and be able to take away our liberty and just say, screw it. Give them nothing and take away everything. So now we're sent down here, and what exactly do we have? What exactly do we do here? Well, we're in the middle of testing ourselves. We're in the middle of testing exactly who we are and how to be able to get back into heaven. And it really boils down to, do we have a good enough heart? Do we have a good enough heart to be able to make it past into heaven? Who knows? Maybe. We'll see. But Christ came down, redeemed our sins, and therefore we are able to have the opportunity to choose heaven. Now, this has everything to do with equal outcome compared to liberty, compared to equality of opportunity. I feel that equal outcome is slavery. I feel it's absolute slavery. You cannot force people into doing what you want them to do. That is a sin in my mind. That is terrible. That's awful. You shouldn't do it, period. There's no such thing as an equal outcome. It's impossible to be able to measure. It's impossible to be able to create. There's no way that anybody can ever accomplish that goal. It's impossible. There's no way. How can we actually accomplish that goal? How can we actually get to that point? It's impossible. No way. All right? And who's to decide what is equal? Us? Really? Really? Hang on, we're going to do 50-50. All right, when is it fair? I don't know. You know, we sit there and we go, there's not enough women in school. Well, right now, women are about 60%. So there's still not enough women? Yes, because we've been discriminated against for hundreds of years. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. And we just go, when is it equal? When is it going to be fair? No such thing. It's impossible to be able to dictate what is fair. Can we really dictate what is fair? Can you really judge what is fair and be fair? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with everybody around you. Can you, without overstepping bounds, doing your emotionally charged feelings and slamming down people and saying, no, you deserve to be on the bottom right now? It's impossible. And I hate how people sit there and think that it is an acceptable form to be able to do. Why? Why is it acceptable? We are not in this world to be able to force people to do other things. All right? We don't force outcomes. We allow any outcome to come to pass. Any outcome in the world, period. You want equality? Have equality of, oh gosh, have liberty. That's real equality. Equality of opportunity. That's real. That's tangible. That's feasible. You can touch it. And you will be able to obtain that goal. It's not obtainable if you consistently try to change minds and force minds into what you think is good. It's impossible. It's like me trying to tell my dad, learn technology. It's impossible. How do I get my dad to say, learn technology, dude? No, he doesn't want to. He wants to have a rotary phone when he's finally old and ready to die. He doesn't care for technology. I'm the one that does technology. I mean, even just today, I was sitting there. He was looking up something on the internet, just looking up a phone number. And I go, okay. And he keeps getting this ad that doesn't go away. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's basic technology. There's going to be people who are going to try and trick you and keep you on their website until you state yes or no, or say you've won. You just got to sit there and just go, oh, okay. Exit out, redo the search. Instead, he doesn't want to exit out because he doesn't want to redo the search. And it's just like, you went into the wrong area, dude. Come on. Haven't you learned yet? And he's like, nope, 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 nope. I'm like, Dad, you're going to have to learn it sometime or another. And he says, I refuse. Okay, you refuse. Have fun with that. You will, you'll be coming to me for half of your life. But liberty is something that should be innate in all of us. I give my dad the liberty to be able to do whatever he wants. And he should give me the liberty to do whatever I want. His teaching and everything that he's given it's finally over. It's done. It's deceased. He should never be teaching me again. Now is his time to actually allow me to live and to grow, just like I would allow him to live and grow. Just like I need to allow my sons or daughters to live and to grow without interference. Liberty is about having equality. Parents try to make equal outcome. It's a terrible thing when parents try and do that. What they'll do is they'll force kids into school. They'll force them into trying to play the piano. They'll force them into doing all sorts of different things. And they don't realize that eventually that goes away. One by one, it eventually goes away. It goes away because they will eventually grow up. Those kids will eventually become a different person. Trying to control them is not good. I'm a religious person, and I firmly believe that control is a part of Satan. I just have that belief. I can prove it just because I can actually talk to people and just say, so you want to control people? Is that it? No, 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 I don't want to control people. It sounds to me like you want to control people. It sounds to me like you're saying white privileged males are privileged and they don't deserve to have this because they are too privileged. It sounds to me like you're trying to control an outcome, aren't you? Trying to say, no, 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 you've had enough. Stop it. Who's to say what is enough? Who's to actually determine what is enough? Who is it? Okay? Nobody actually really determines what is enough. All right? Only the person who is striving for the goal. You can't shame people into stop working just because you tell them that they're privileged. You can't shame them into doing it. Is there any type of privilege out there? Yes, absolutely. If there's a male privilege, then you have to acknowledge that there's a female privilege. If there is a white privilege, then you have to acknowledge that there's an Asian privilege, a black privilege. Every single person has some amount of benefit and disadvantage in their life. We, as individuals, have to say, fuck those. All right? Why in the world should we ever listen to that and say, oh, I have an advantage, therefore I need to back off a little bit? Fuck that. Or say, oh, I don't have an advantage, therefore I should stop trying. Fuck that. Why? Grab what you want in this world. This world is yours. And people will tell you that you shouldn't grab it. But grab it anyways, because you only have one life to live. Pure amounts of racism is embedded in that. Screw that. Get your shit together, move on, and actually live your life. Become a better person and actually become the best person that you ever want to be. Fuck everyone else. They can suck it. They can have whatever they want in their life, but they can't tell you what you can and can't have. All right? If you want liberty, great. If you want to be gay or lesbian, great. If you want to be the richest person in the world, fine. Do what you want, but quit trying to blame the system for being rigged. Because the system's not rigged. It's just the way it is. So long as there's liberty, so long as there's equal opportunity, the system is not rigged. It's actually based off of who you are as a person. Can you accomplish your goals? Can you actually get where you're going in this world? You can blame everyone else. You can blame white people. You can blame black people. You can blame Asians all you want. You can blame women, men, it doesn't matter. You can blame everyone else, but the number one person that actually matters, the one that should be the one that actually changes instead of the society, is yourself. Change yourself before you change anybody else. All right? Take that fucking beam out of your eye before you take the mote out of everyone else's eye. You're the one that is in charge of your own life. You're the one in charge of your own riches. You're in charge of your own wealth, your success. You're in charge of it. Nobody else is. Blaming other people, playing victim, is the worst thing you could do in the world. Get out there, get your shit together, pull up your skirt, and get it done. You want it? Go for it. I get very, very emotional by saying that type of stuff because it really upsets me that people would actually complain about that. Like that's a legitimate form of an excuse. Like all of a sudden somebody out there is actually saying, oh, poor baby, poor baby, here, let's make it so that we actually get you somewhere. Oh, your skin color, oh gosh, it must be so hard to be black. That's the highest form of racism I've ever heard. You poor baby, you black, poor baby. Hang on one second. I'm going to make sure that you get a proper job. Oh, man. Somebody told me that. Oh, you poor white boy. Oh, poor white boy. You're just a doll. Hang on. You can't get anywhere in life. Let's get you a job. Let's get you out there. Hey, make sure this person gets a job. That's the highest form of insult I've ever heard. You're saying I can't get a job on my own? You're saying I can't do it by myself? You're saying that I am not independent? You're saying that I can't do it at all? Fuck you. No, I'm going to keep my pride when it comes to that type of stuff. I will keep my pride when it comes to that. I will say, fuck you, I will get a job, I'll be successful, I'll have a family, I'll have kids, and I will be able to make a good person of myself. All right? I want to prove to the world that I can do it without them. And if you can only prove it with them, great, fine, have at it. Go ahead. Do whatever you need to, all right? Take advantage of the system all you want. As for me, if any barriers are involved, I will make sure to hop, hurdle, and go over them with ease and glee in my heart. I want hurdles. I want the highest of hurdles. Because then when I get over it, I learned from it. All right? Nobody in this world is not without, challenges. Not without pain. Everybody in this world, in every way, shape, and form, have different challenges. Complaining about it does nothing. Doing something about it does everything. Change your heart, change your mind, get out there, and have fun while you're doing it. God, too many people are... I know I'm serious, but I like having more fun. And I'm a little bit more serious lately on these programs than I have been in actual life. But have fun while you're at it, you know? When you admit that you're wrong and you're trying to be better every single day and you're getting closer to your goals all the time, you're trying to figure out your depression, you're trying to figure out what the meaning of life is, or trying to get past a certain point, or trying not to get your job taken away, or trying to get through school. You know, not taking yourself seriously, it would be the most healthiest thing you could do, all right? There are definitely challenges in this world. There's definitely hard stuff in this world. And there are times to be mothered. I will freely admit, there are times when all of a sudden you just need to break down and cry and go into the corner. And sometimes you need to be a little bitch about it. There are times that you can do it. And then after you're done with your crying and your sobbing, you get up. And you get back out there. And you do it again. And you keep doing it till you succeed. Jordan Peterson said it the best. You want to be the most successful person in the world? Expect 99% of every single resume that you send out to be a failure. That nobody will want you. It's that one resume, that one job that might be able to change everything. You want to be successful? Expect resistance. Expect failure. Expect that you're not going to be the best in the world. And then expect that you will be able to do great things. All right? Have the humility to know that you're not the best, but also have the pride to say, I will do my best. And forget the rest. Seriously, do your best, forget the rest. And if you fail at it, that's fine. You failed. All well. Nothing more you can do about it. But eventually you'll succeed. Eventually everybody will succeed and become a better person for it. I'm going to call this the end of my stream. I appreciate all the comments, especially from Ashley. And you guys take it easy. Have a good night. Chill out. Just be good, man. Just be really good. I'm Silver Tongue Diablo. And I say get in, then get the hell out. Peace.